Yo, 514 Online Mix, Christcella.
What's up, everyone? You're on 514 Online Mix. We have an extremely special guest, Jahmal WhoSane, who has written on his profile, King of Kings. I actually want to know, what does that mean? I have a feeling about why you wrote that, but I would like to know from your personal point of view, why did you write that, Jahmal WhoSane?
Yeah, what's going on, people? What's going on? Yeah, it's the original Martian, Jahmal WhoSane, here live on 514 Online Mix. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thanks for having me, first of all. Yeah, so King of Kings. Yeah, my Facebook little profile thing. Well, the term King of Kings, like I've been familiar with that from like my entire childhood, you know.
Same here.
You know, in like the Bible and stuff like that, the tribe of Judah. If you're familiar with Rasta culture,
yes, sir.
You know, they identify Haile Selassie as the King of Kings, right? And it's a title it's been given to, you know, like the Emperor of Ethiopia and whatnot. But ever since I was young, you know, my father always called me the king, called me a king. And yeah, you know, as I grew older, you know, you called me the King of Kings. And, you know, I just kind of take that title seriously in a sense, you know. Yeah, everybody could claim to be a king, but, you know, the King of Kings has like a special responsibility in a sense, a special mission.
Yes, and with that great responsibility, I tell people who are in a position of power, even if it's not even if it's not known by everyone, when anybody will see your presence, Jahmal WhoSane, they can already see that you have this great power within you, if they can see it. If they can see it, if they're also, like, you know what I mean, able to see it, but you walk, you talk, and you move like a king.
I appreciate that. Give thanks.
I can really tell that you're also deeply rooted in your culture as well. You put that in your music. You put that in your, like, every day of posting. You put that in every little thing. There's always seeds you are planting in my head. And I want to thank you for that as well. I had to get myself spiritually ready to speak to you, because sometimes when we speak, it's not only us speaking, you know.
That's
exactly what I was talking to Serenity about. You know, sometimes it's not us speaking, and hopefully my spirit and your spirit will connect through this interview. There is so many things I would like to ask you, especially the fact that you said you have many hats.
I do.
Yes. Can we get into some of the hats that you have, Jahmal WhoSane?
Well, currently, you know, I'm wearing kind of like a, it's an old habit, or an old what would you call it? An interest that I had in the past. Just being able to make like merchandise, for example. So as an artist, like, you know, I always felt as though, you know, I wanted to be able to have control over that aspect of the merchandise. So, you know, right now I got on one of my first official product, in a sense, you know.
365. Wow. And it's also the continent of Africa, I believe.
That's right. You know, so I got the African continent there. And yeah, I threw on the black 365 on it, just to give like a representation. I created that like around June of 2020.
Really?
Released it around like July, you know. That kind of came to me in like a vision kind of thing, in a dream. Yeah, I wasn't really planning to, you know, launch a fashion line or anything like that, but I just knew personally that I wanted to just create yeah, create products that I wear, because I'm not somebody that really wears too much brands, you know. I don't really wear brand names. I kind of retired that. And growing up, honestly, I never I never really did. Like my father, he bought me like one pair of Jordans for probably like my 12th birthday, or some like Jordan 13s. So those are like my favorite Jordans, you know. So I might get a pair of 13s like for my son or whatnot. But then, you know, after that, I'm gonna do the same thing like my father did to me. Like, you know, I needed a pair of shoes. He took me to the store, and it was just like, okay, boom, I'm familiar with the Nike. So I was just like, I want that one, you know? And he's like, do you know how much that costs? And I swear I was like maybe 9 years old or so. Um, and I looked up at it, and, you know, I saw the $100+ and I was like, okay, that's like 100+, you know? And then I realized like, yo, these shoes actually cost a lot of money, you know. And fortunately, I've been around like the family business like all my life, you know. When I was born, my dad had a restaurant. So when I was 9, like he opened up a new restaurant. um and yeah, I just been able to see my family work hard and go through the struggles of just keeping the business open. So for me to feel like, I'm gonna go take this $100 now just to buy one pair of shoe, when I saw something like right beside it for a bit less, and, you know, still looked fly or whatnot. Maybe it was a different brand, but, you know, like, I'm somebody who, I rather wear some Converse, for example, right? And you can get Converse at like $60 or whatever it is. All these different colors, you know,
Yes,
customization is kind of like my thing, you know?
that is really, really
So,
cool.
yeah.
You
So,
mentioned, sorry, go on, please continue.
yeah, so just, you know, t-shirts, I started that back in like 2009. You know, I dabbled with it a bit. 2010, I kind of, you know, tried I tried running a business, and I kind of failed, you know. So since then I was kind of like discouraged.
But you were failing forward.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Failing forward. You know, it was a method I didn't really like, and now like I'm using one of the best methods ever. I give like the highest qualities
I can
available.
see that. The fact
Yeah.
that I can clearly see your shirt and read it from a virtual camera, and I can see the type of quality you use, it makes me just want to touch the t-shirt and see, like, you know, put that on myself. And like I said,
Yeah.
for 514 online mix t-shirts, we are not going with anybody else but you, Jahmal WhoSane.
I
And
appreciate that.
you heard this on camera. As soon as we're ready, as soon as our radio show is established, we are coming to you. You
Yeah.
mentioned that you retired your name brand, and I'm actually going through something like that as well. So that's really, really amazing that you mentioned that, so other people, especially other people in the community, can learn from that. We're going to do our best to help out when it comes to the community, whatever way we can. So, Jahmal WhoSane, I'm telling you, you are lucky and fortunate to have an amazing, amazing parents who helped you realize that very young. You know, sometimes it's your environment that help you grow a certain way, and I can truly see that. Just the fact that you have that intuition, you know, to choose between two different shoes when it comes to that age, and not just see the brand, not just think about, oh, you know, everyone's gonna see this and they're gonna look, I'm gonna look hype, you know, I'm gonna get the girls, and but no, you're like, you know what, you were thinking business already. So I thought that was amazing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
Yes.
it's kind of funny because you know, I've been looking back at my life and whatnot, and kind of trying to think of like when was the first moment of like entrepreneurship, uh like a spark, you know, a spark. And, you know, I can remember my uncle and my aunt, like they knew how to draw like pretty well, you know. So I remember they literally drew like on paper, like loose leaf, they drew out like french fries, hamburgers, and stuff like that for me. And they cut all those things out, like I colored them or whatever it is. But basically, like in daycare, I remember I had a restaurant Like
Wow.
it was paper food, and I would use the, you know, the plates at the daycare and whatnot. But like I had a restaurant, you know. So yeah, just thinking of all of that is just like, well, you know, I always just been somebody who's been around, you know, members of the community who do a lot of service. So not just like my family, but you know, if I just look at my family, so whether it comes from the restaurants, um, you know, my dad, my family used to play music, the
Mm-hmm.
Black Tempo Sound Crew, you know, so we used to be at venues playing music, so you could book us for events, whatnot. Um,
So for the people who do not know, you and Preach actually mention Black Temple quite often. Can you just explain what that is to the viewers?
yeah, so Black Tempo, you know, was a champion sound crew in the 90s, like early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. It's a sound crew started by my father, my uncle. It included members within the family and outside the family, like some of their best friends. But, you know, Preach was like one of the youngest members. At his age, my dad took him under the wing, took him under his wing, and, you know, kind of showed him the ropes of, yeah, how to really run like a sound crew. Um, so yeah, Black Temple Sound, that was like one of the champion sounds in Montreal, you know. It stood up to some of the best sounds in like sounds from Jamaica, like when they came here. Big DJs like Tony Mataron came here, you know. Um, yeah, they all kind of observe what we did, you know. They give us our flowers and whatnot and flowers back. Um, but yeah, Black Temple Sound, like, you know, that's a legacy in itself,
Mm,
you know.
that is a beautiful thing you've mentioned. The fact that it goes way back, so it has definitely a foundation built for the younger generation, and I think that is so important. So you've been in the music scene, basically been around entrepreneurs since you were very young.
That's
You
right.
were born for this. That's why with
Some might
great
say that.
power, with great power.
Comes great responsibility, right? You
Yes,
know.
sir. Mm-hmm. I truly agree with that. So some of your hats, okay, you worked at a restaurant. Is this the restaurant that you were talking about growing up? It says that you were working at, I think it's called the Jamaican Way restaurant.
Yeah, Jamaica Way.
Jamaica Way, yes.
Yeah, also known as Jamaica Way, like when it
Wow.
first opened, you know,
Oh,
Jamaica Way. So that was the restaurant my family reopened, or yeah, I guess you could say reopened, or the second restaurant that I can remember they opened up. Um, this was like 99 on Queen Mary.
mm-hmm.
So right outside like Snowden Metro. It was in a beautiful location.
Oh
Like
my goodness, that was your
it was a great
family.
place. Yeah, Jamaica Way.
Wow.
That was us. You
You
know,
know,
right there.
I'm also Jamaican descent, so this is an amazing interview experience for me speaking to
See,
another Jamaican king. There's so many Jamaican kings who carry themselves as kings. So I'm getting used to calling my brothers and sisters kings and queens. I think it's so much better than using other terms, if you know what I mean. Jahmal WhoSane, I don't even have
exactly.
to say it. I don't even have to say it, but we must respect each other like kings and queens and give flowers while
That's
we're
right.
here
We're
so we can
royalty, you
build
know.
this community. Yes,
hmm Yeah,
yes,
we are royal. You know, we come
we
from a
are.
royal line, and you know, we just gotta carry ourselves in that way. Simple
Yes,
as that. You know, whatever you think, you manifest. So if we just keep our thoughts clean, you know, as much as we can, and I'm not saying like, you know, that means be perfect and whatnot, but you know, understand your shadow side, understand
mm,
your flaws or whatnot, what it is that makes you you, you know, and just take that in. If it's harmful to somebody else, then you know, think about these actions, if you should really be doing them or not. Simple as that. And you know, carry yourself in a better way. You know, every day you can do one thing better, you know, make you a better person. Simple as that.
Thank you, King, for that. Wow. And I hope whoever is watching this interview is also blessed by what you just said. You know, before we get into your hats, before we get more into your hat, because you have a few more that we're going to talk about, I want to talk about a post. We're gonna go back and forth. This post is what's like, whoa, this guy, he has knowledge to share, and you have to read between the lines, and you also have to pay attention. And I'm so grateful that I get to interview you, because I get to do a little study, right, on the person who I interview. And this was a true learning experience for me. I have to admit that. You posted this: skeptical of you as you rise, love you once on top, unaware of your inner battles, laugh at your downfall, cry once you're gone. If this is man's evolution, I want no part. What made you write something so deeply bright but yet dark at the same time?
Well, you know, that kind of came to me maybe a day or two after DMX passed, you know, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
And I did an interview with Behind the Suit, you know, a few weeks back. And there I was recalling that, you know, like my first remix in grade 5, like, was to a DMX track, you know?
Really?
That's before any thoughts of being an artist, you know. Just in grade 5, we just, you know, we heard the song Stop, Drop, and we just took it and we just, you know, remixed it in a sense, you know, and that kind of kicked off some rhyming for me or whatnot. But yeah, if you just look at, you know, X's career or just anybody else's career, really, like, you know, there's a lot of people out there that if they're not hardcore fans of what you do, like, you know, if they don't appreciate you 100% for what you do before fame or anything like that, you know, some will just jump on the bandwagon, right? Yo, this is what's hot right now. I hear everybody's listening. Yo, this is hot. So they just jump on the bandwagon, you know, sharing stuff for clout, whatever it is, right? So, you know, like, there's always a hot new artist always coming out, right?
Yes.
So, you know, we jump on the wave of the hot new artists. We're banging their music, whatever it is. You know, we pray for their success and whatnot. Once they're on top, it's all like, yeah, you know. But we don't really know what these artists go through, or just anybody in general, right? Just your closest friend, right? Your closest friend that you pray for their success, you know. And there's a lot of people out there that, you know, pray for their friend's success, right?
Yes.
You can use them quotations, right? Them air quotes. But like, yeah, you know, you pray for your friend's success, and then it's like, once they're on top, you know, either you're still that supportive, or, you know, you start being a little envious because, okay, maybe they don't have time for you anymore or whatnot. But you don't know the struggles they're going through. You don't know the struggle anybody is going through. And, you know, a lot of DMX's battles, like, some was, you know, public, but a lot of it we don't know. You know? A lot of it we don't know. And, you know, I just been listening more to his prayers, you know, just been going back listening to a lot of his prayers. And if you just listen to him, like, yo, he was a vessel. Like, he's trying to speak. He's letting the light come out of the dark that he was in, you know. So out of darkness came light, right? Out of darkness came light. That's why we need to embrace our shadows and whatnot. Not everybody is perfect. And, you know, that post just came to me because, you know, I may have been somebody who kind of thought like that, and not really on purpose neither, but it was just like, you know, generally somebody, you know, reaches their success or whatnot, and I don't pray for nobody's downfall or anything like that, but then when you hear certain things like, oh, it's drugs, or, oh, this person, you know, is an abuser, for an example, domestic violence and things like that. It just reminds me that everybody is human, right? Everybody is human, and it's not an excuse for what they do or anything like that, but some people will excuse it because of the status, the celebrity status, right? They turn a blind eye to the actions. You know, everything's all hush hush, everything is paid up, quiet, whatever it is, right? But there's certain pain you can't cure trauma with a payment, right? You can't cure trauma with a payment. So things will come back. Karma is real. Things will come back. And I know there's times that I myself might have been like, well, shoot, man, like, well, what do you expect from certain individuals? Or, oh, this happened to them. Well, it sucks, but it's like, I'm not really, I forget that I might have gone through that myself, or I could go through that myself too. But that's kind of more in the past, because now that I stepped into like the holistic healing and stuff like that, and I actually like have a client now, like on the weekly, right? Where I sit down and I listen to their traumas, and this is traumas that they're bringing up from when they were a child. So like I've been fortunate to go to school to learn how to hold space, right? And that will get into my next hat, right? Just being able to hold space. Like, I've always just been somebody who you can talk to. Like, a lot of people find that, they for some reason they can always just confide in me. I'm that type of person. It's just my nature, right? And but like I'm somebody who will listen before I speak, right? So I'll listen to what you have to say. I'll try and find deeper meanings and whatnot. And sometimes it won't be all me, as you say, like the ancestors. You feel the ancestors flow through me. I ask that I be used as a vessel, so if the ancestors have something they want to get out, like, by all means, like, use me. And most of the times, like, things are just downloads. Like, they just come. I might I might be speaking about one thing, and then I just switch and go into a tangent, and maybe that tangent really covers what it is that we were talking about, or it brings light into something else that we were discussing, or something else you have in mind, right?
Yes, Jahmal WhoSane. I can listen to you. I can sit down and listen to you, and like as if you're a prophet. I don't know what it is about you, Jahmal WhoSane. I had to get my spirit right before I spoke to you, and this is why, because you're not the only one watching me. I see some spirits flying through your cameras too, man. I'm saying you are not alone in that room. You are protected, brother. You are protected, and it shows. You are so right. We are human. It doesn't make any sense if we throw stones at people who are falling already, right? Sometimes we gotta help a sister or brother out. And you mentioned DMX. DMX was also given crack in a blunt by one of his mentors, by someone he looked up to, by someone who was 30 years old, and while he was 14. We have to make sure we pave better ways for our people, even our artists. They go through so much. Wendy Williams, I was doing a lot of research about DMX. Wendy Williams was also someone who took DMX's music, and she thought she threw it out the window, but she just left it exactly where he gave it to her. There's so many few little things that just broke DMX. And those are just two things we know publicly. Just imagine. Also abused. He was also abused. And when you were taught how not to love, and when you were taught this trauma, pretty much, right? It's a cycle. And sometimes it's up to a village to break that cycle. This man was crying out for help in so many of his songs. And I'm sure I was like, we were too young and he's a celebrity, but this gave me a wake up call that we need to listen to our artists a lot more and speak to one another. We need to speak and listen to one another. And you just reminded me that as well.
We do. I
Mm-hmm.
strongly believe that. Like, yeah, if we look back now, right, when it's, too late in a sense, but it's never too late because it's always a learning experience, and it's always about paving the way forward. And I truly believe that, we go when our time is up, and
Yes.
when he passed, I like from time I heard the news, I was hopeful, but honestly, I said he did his job.
Mm-hmm.
I knew from time I heard he was in the hospital, I said he did his job. And it's just crazy because sometimes like that happens to me, and in a sense where it's like, a few weeks ago, like I just was reminded of his greatness, how much he helped me and whatnot, and then boom, like I hear news about it, and it's like, whoa, like, where did this come from,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same, you kind of just, I was just reminded of where the cycle started for me, in a sense, like how he helped start my cycle, and now he's at the end of his. Like, how is that gonna help
It gave me shivers.
continue mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and
yeah,
that's the
like,
circle of life, isn't it?
it is.
It's a beautiful thing. This is why death no longer scares me. It's because we're making room for the next generation. This is why we have to keep that, build a foundation for the next generation. Shout out to Pharaoh for also showing me that too. Preach. DJ Bobby Payne. There's so many brothers out there, sisters out there who are paving the way for that. And I really, as a woman, I really like to appreciate the kings around me. Of course, the queens as well. But I like to give my flowers to our kings because sometimes I don't receive enough flowers for what they do. And let's get into a little bit more of your hats. All right, let's get to a little bit more of your hats. I'm a little bit like, shivering now because your spirit is speaking clearly, and I hear it, and it's sometimes hard to look at you in your eyes too because you have this presence, and this is why I like speaking to certain people like you because I get shivers and I take this knowledge and I run with it, Jahmal. So I heard that you were, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this word right, but a shiatsu specialist.
Yeah, so it's shiatsu.
Shiatsu, I figured, I knew it. I knew I should have said that. Yeah, shiatsu, yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, those who know me from like high school and stuff like that knows that once somebody introduced me to anime, like it was over for me. Like anime was my life. Like,
same here. Hunter x Hunter wasn't for me.
Well, for me, like it was Naruto. Like they call, right, like how they pronounce it, whatever. But Naruto, like, whew, I remember that's what they were watching, and I was like, what is this? So I remember going home and I just had episodes on download, and I watched like 100 and something episodes in like 4 days while still having school, while having to do homework and stuff like that. I don't even think the hours make sense, right? But somehow I watched like 100 and something episodes in 4 days. Like I caught up to where things was gonna get to the climax. Like everybody who watches Naruto knows that whole Naruto versus Sasuke fight there, episode like 131. Like I can remember numbers.
I see that.
I love numbers. I can
I'm sure you can
numbers.
I'm sure you can watch those shows in Japanese as well.
Well, it's always Japanese with just English subtitles,
right?
Yeah. So that's how I ended up getting like the nickname Taicho and stuff like that, which means like captain, right? Kind of fitting. So So shiatsu, going back to that, right? So it's basically a Japanese massage modality, right?
Soka.
But it's based exactly, soka. Understood.
Yes.
Right. So but it's based off of Chinese medicine, right? Traditional Chinese medicine. So yeah, that's something, I just decided to go for, because about 2 years ago I got injured at my job. Like, I was working at the
Really?
airport.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
ended
the
up
airport.
getting like, yeah, it has its ups and its downs and whatnot. Um, as I say, I like the service job in a sense.
Me
So,
too. Me too.
it wasn't really about doing that hard work, stacking the bags or whatnot, but it was really about making sure that flight went out safe for me. That's what it was about. Because as a lead, you kind of have to make sure all the doors are sealed and stuff like that, right? So, it could be, at first it could be a little scary. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes you're just like, yo, did I close that
Yes.
door
My
properly?
brother
Did
did
I,
what you did too. I know exactly what you're talking about. Hmm.
right. So there's
Yeah.
few times where it's like flights have gone off and I'm just like, just making sure I did everything.
Right?
Well, as an agent, I always make sure I did. But then as a lead, it's like, okay, I kind of have more responsibility. I can't walk with everybody and, make sure they do this, make sure they do that. So anyway, so I ended up getting injured on the job. And really, I took it as a sign from God, or from the creator, that like I need to take a break, because
Wow.
the year before that, roughly like the same time, I pretty much like worked for like 4 months straight, like no days off kind of thing. And we're talking like 12 to 16 hours every day. Like, I was just on a grind.
Hmm.
And after like 100 and something days, and I only missed the shift after like my body kind of like shut down. So after my 122nd shift in a row, like my body was just like, okay, Jahmal, like that's too much.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, I kind of took it as a sign from the creator, like, yo, you're about to go do the same thing again.
Oh, yeah, I hear
You're
you.
gonna, like, that. Honestly, that was the plan. I was about to go do another like 3 months straight, just grind, stack, and do what I had to do. But then, the ancestors just like said, yo, you need to sit down. And they literally knocked me in my
They
head.
will. They will. Yeah.
They literally knocked me in my head. And, I ended up with like a concussion when I went to the hospital to check it out. So I got a concussion. I had to like stay home for a week. First, it was a week, and I was like bothered by the light and everything like
Hmm.
that. I had to do physio, and it just ended up prolonging, right? But once I realized like my eyes became like sensitive to the light and everything like that, I was just like, okay, like something's going on. Like, I got to get things checked out. I got a pair of
Yes.
glasses, but I was still getting like, these weird feelings in a sense. So while I was home, 1 week turned to 2 weeks, turned to a month. And like in my second month, I was just, a little better. My head wasn't hurting as much, and I just decided to just go on YouTube and just like check out some stuff that I used to check out when I was yeah, like younger, 10 years ago kind of thing. So um I started checking out some tarot, right? Some
Hmm.
tarot, some astrology and stuff like
Oh,
that.
astrology too.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of, I found somebody in Toronto who does readings. Her YouTube's Queen Cup Tarot.
Okay, Queen Cup
And
Tarot. Okay.
yeah, so I ended up like just connecting with her. She also has a Jamaican background, right? She's Jamaican Italian. And I just felt the
Wow.
way she was speaking was just like real, she connects, she's just, it's raw, but it's just like real.
Oh, I like it like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I like really connected with her, and it was random too, because I wasn't watching her videos at first. Like, I was watching something else, and I fell asleep, like I took a weed nap or something, and when I woke up, she
Mhm.
was on my screen, and I swear, like I told her this too, and I was just like, "Yo, who's this beautiful girl on my screen? Yo, who's this empress?" Like, like. And when
Yeah.
I heard the Jamaican accent, I was like, "Lord God, it's over," Cancer is
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
crush a lot kind of
Oh,
thing,
yes,
but
you guys do.
yeah, yeah, it is
Wow.
what it is.
You know what, Jamal Hussein, you said something about a concussion. Actually, when I started this business like a year and a half ago, I too was suffering from a concussion. Nobody knew that. The ancestors knocked me upside my head too. Okay,
There
and
you
I was
go.
out of work for a year. But
Hmm.
this wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that concussion. So every
Trust me.
day I thank the universe for knocking me upside my head. Yeah, I was sensitive to
Yeah.
light, but I slowly was making sure I got better. And when
Mhm.
I do, I had this hunger in me to help as many artists and people that I could.
That's what's up.
With this journey, we have no choice. Because
We
if
have
you're
no
living for
choice.
yourself, the ancestors will tell you, especially if you're supposed to be doing good, they will
Mm.
tell you, knock you.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it
Straight
happened to
up.
me too. And it was a
Yeah.
work accident as well. I got hit in the head and I also had a concussion. So I
Wow.
definitely related to what you said.
Yeah, yeah, and it was that concussion that allowed me to get into this holistic field because the mother of my children was going to this school in NDG, and she was like studying to be like a naturopath. And I was like, like I've always been interested in that. As I said, the Rasta upbringing, my father natural to the thing,
Mm-hmm.
so for me it's just like anything natural like makes sense, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I've always been about natural healing, so why not look into it. So I looked into the programs of that school, and I was just like, well, you know just doing the herbology is cool, the holistic nutrition is cool, but I kind of want something hands on too, you know and then I saw shiatsu, and I was just like, well, that's it. Like, it's right there. It's Japanese. It makes sense,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I just went with the shiatsu, and I think I was late because the course may have started, and I wasn't able to go to the first class. But the teacher reached out to me, and she's like, well, come, and we'll do like a makeup class.
Oh,
There's
that's really nice.
somebody, yeah, she had somebody that was willing to come in to be like a model or muse for
Mm-hmm.
me to practice on. And I went, and yeah, like teacher was just like, yo, your technique is great, like you have great presence, and you feel like you look like a natural. And me, I'm just like pressing points on the body, like
Yeah.
I don't know what I guess this is okay. She says rock, so
Um,
I'm rocking, She says breathe, so I'm breathing. Like this deep breath.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, she said I was a natural. I was just like, okay, I guess I'll continue with it. And honestly, that shiatsu helped with like my concussion and stuff. Like
Really?
just the deep breathing. Like, yeah, I was more present in myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was more aware of my body, and I started feeling different sensations. So then, like when I started going outside, um, I would notice, like when I would pass by like the electric poles or whatever it is, I would notice I'd kind of like feel my head kind of tingle a bit. Like,
Yes.
so I'm like, is
Yes.
this am I feeling like the electric current
Mm-hmm.
outside? Like what's going on, And yeah, so I continued with it, and I probably went back to the airport after between 6 months and a year before I
Oh.
went back as light duty
Oh yeah, same here.
for
Wow. So you
yeah.
were out for a while then.
I was out completely for 2 years. Like I just got cleared
Mm-hmm.
right before COVID, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Oh
Like
my
so
goodness.
that's February 2020 was like when I got cleared. And then March, like I had shifts, but there was nothing to do because everything got canceled. And then by April, I got laid off. But when I first went back to the airport, and I'm like, everything out there is just loud, right? So we usually wear the protective headsets, right? But I'm somebody, I grew up in the steel pan yard, so I don't really use that because for me, like, I'm here pan all day, like that's loud. When people are practicing their own thing, you're just hearing metal banging all, like, you know.
Like I remember those days, man.
So, you know, for me, I don't really use those, and my hearing has taken effect because of the high pitch sounds of you know, the airplanes and stuff like that. But when I was out there, I just noticed, like, my head was like, whoa, it couldn't really take it that much. So, I was doing my physio and everything, but shiatsu really helped, you know. It's
That is amazing. I also actually am going to read another part of your post before we get into your music. Don't call, no, not that one. That's going to call that. I'm going to read that one after. But basically, you were offering free flower, I think it was essence from any kind of trauma. Did I get that right?
Yeah, so
and it was expensive care. I wanted to know what expensive care is.
Yeah, so, you know, continuing with the shiatsu,
yes, sir.
It's like been 2 years now, right? I got injured 2019 kind of thing. So yeah, I basically decided to, you know, continue with the shiatsu. I took it a bit further, level 2, level 3 kind of thing. And I just like enjoyed it so much that I decided that I need to. I originally, like, when I was in school, I obviously figured, well, you know, I can do my own practice or something like that. But with the lockdown and stuff like that, with the pandemic, like, I was able to kind of launch it more or focus on it a bit more.
Oh
wow. I started taking like my first like mobile client, so like my first in-home client, in a sense. I would go to their house, and because they weren't able to get acupuncture done, they decided to, you know, try out the shiatsu, because it was my friend who reached out to me, and he was just like, yo bro, like, my mom's in mad pain, man, like, I don't know what to do, like, you know. And he was just tired of hearing like that pain that she was going through. So I say, you know, like, I'll give it a shot, whatnot, I'll, you know, do my best and whatnot. And after like 2 sessions with me, they ended up just like canceling their acupuncture.
What?
Like they never went back to the acupuncturist. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So that's just something I enjoy doing, right? Before, I used to call it Jahmal Shiatsu. So on Facebook, it still might be the Jahmal Shiatsu page, but I just so like my real name, my last name is Spence, or my government name, or the slave name, whatever it is, right? It's Spence. So I just said, well, you know, I'm a play on that. And I always say, like, yo, this life is expensive, right? Like, so I just put the X, and I played around with the spelling, right? So when you look at it, it's expensive, but it's like a play of my last name, but, like, you know what I mean? Expensive care, like the care, health, being healthy is expensive. It is expensive. Life is expensive. Right? It's hard work. You know, there's a post I seen that said, like, living is hard, right? Or there's certain things that are hard, but then there's things that are easy, right? Like, living is hard, but dying is easier, right? So for me, it's like, well, yo, I know health is expensive, but, you know, expensive care, I'm not really talking about the dollar sign. I'm talking about the value, or the whatever I'm putting into it, the energy that I'm putting into it, like that's what's expensive. That's what's more so like invaluable. That's what you can't really put a dollar sign to. So yeah, I decided like my whole brand, you know, is expensive. The clothing expensive mode, just for February, like Black History Month, I came up with the acronym for mode. So it's like manifesting only divine excellence. Yeah, so that's kind of like the focus. I just want to be in expensive mode. And so it's like when I'm in that mode, I'm just trying to manifest only like my divine excellence. Like that's it, you know. I don't nothing else.
So this explains why, just the way how you speak, the way how you carry yourself. It kind of gives me a little explanation of why you made the song Red Pill, Blue Pill, a Matrix vibe. You said some things that shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. You said some words like music to free all the slaves. Mm-hmm. I wrote that down. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is what he said. Who produced that track, Jahmal WhoSane?
Red Pill, Blue Pill. I believe that was a Street Empire. So it's like in the States. And yeah, like honestly, they've just been like one of my go-to producers in a sense. It's when I go there, there's a sound that I hear, a sound that I like, and it just calls me, and I just jump on it, kind of thing. I know there's a sample in it from a popular song or whatnot, but sorry, there's a sample in it that was used in another popular song.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's not sampled from one of these hit songs or whatever, but yeah, when I heard the song, I don't know, it just had that vibe to it for me, and it was just like, you know, it starts out with the bass or the beat just, you know, kicking, and then right when the verse comes in, it kind of like it pulls back a bit. So right there, I was just like, I know I have to come with a line like right from jump to get everybody's attention.
You got my attention,
right? You know,
I was like,
you know, so like 24 carats don't make you real, you know. I just want to know if I can build with you, like invest in all my time, and you gonna steal, like might shoot you for the ante, who gonna squeal, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, yeah, in this life, right, you know, we get excited or we get attracted to all the gold, all the glamour and stuff like that, but that doesn't really make you real. And a lot of people sell themselves, sell their souls, or sell out their friends, whatever it is, for that material thing, material wealth or whatever it is, right? And for me, it's like, I don't really care about all this stuff. I just want to know if I could build something with you. So, you know, like you see how we're connecting here, and you know, you have the whole 514 online mix going on.
Oh yes.
My whole thought is, yo, how can I build with you? How can I, you know, get that to a new level? So whether it be through you acquiring merchandise, or whether it be through, you know, we had like a little, not really a discussion on it yet, but you know, who knows, I might join the program or join the platform for, you know, my own program or something like that. Right?
I will always have a spot for you, Jahmal.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you know. And in return, like, how can I then take that and then, you know, make it bigger, right? So you see, you're on Twitch, a lot of us are on Twitch.
Yeah, I just started.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Ooh, thanks.
Yeah, you know, it's good to get out there, get seen visually and whatnot, get that exposure. All exposure, you know, not all exposure is good exposure, but when you're in control, then right, you have the power to make it good exposure. So, you know, you take these opportunities and just see where it goes from there. So, you know, I have my own website where I integrated, you know, the massage and like the merchandise. So you can buy some of my merch. You can buy the Black 365. You can buy a couple expensive mode pieces, some of the new designs I got up there. You can also book your massage online, flower essence. I know we still have to get back on exactly what the flower essence is.
Oh, don't worry, I got time.
But yeah, but basically, like on my website, I'm able to do a whole bunch of other things too. So, I can put in the 514 mix, like 514 online mix player in a sense. So
Ooh, that's so
whenever it's on, people can always, if they're on my site, they can automatically hear somebody who's streaming or whatever it is, right? There's opportunities
wow.
like that.
Wow, that ooh, you keep giving me shivers. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the interviews, not what we're talking about, but that too. But this is one of the interviews that that's gonna change my life, and it's already changing my life, changing you're rewiring my brain patterns right now, Jahmal. Woo! I just had to let that out a little bit. I've never done an interview this long as well. I actually have a cap, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't. I just had to soak all of that in. Wow, Jahmal WhoSane.
Well, as I say, like I already told you earlier, I was gonna go on a tangent, so I never even completed the flower essence, right?
Yes.
Well, basically, so the flower essence, what it is, so the post was, I'll start with the post. So the post was me saying that I'm offering flower essence workshops for any woman dealing with trauma, right? And I was offering it for free. It wasn't really something I was doing for women's like month or anything like that, because I'm somebody that I'll do something the day after, or like a week after, whatever. This is a holiday, well, the next day I'm gonna do a post or whatever it is, kind of thing, right? So yeah, so like I posted that towards the end of the month to kind of show that it's not just for the month. It's something that came up, with all the domestic violence that was going on in the city. But yeah, it's something that is needed all the time, you know what I mean? So if there's somebody that does want to take advantage of it, like it's still there, the offer's still there. But basically flower essences, there's 39 flowers that are used in like healing emotional trauma, mental trauma, just kind of like the state of mind, the emotional state. Sometimes it affects the physical too, right? You might shake, or you have different responses to different triggers, mental, emotional, whatever it is, spiritual. So with the flower essences, we can treat those illnesses in a sense, right? Those feelings, those emotions. So if somebody comes to me and so I have the capacity to hold space now. So I sit there, I'll listen, I'll ask them, okay, so tell me, what's going on, or tell me where you're at right now, kind of thing. And they'll just open up with whatever they want to open up with, right? So if I can hear that it's somebody that is kind of like hard on themselves too much, I can hear they're calling themselves all kind of names. Oh, am I stupid? And like, things like that. Oh, I'm so dumb, I shouldn't do it. Like, so right there, it's like, okay, somebody's kind of hard on themselves. We have something for that. It's called rock water, So basically, it's literally water collected after it was like streamed on rocks, basically. Excuse me. So like literally you're taking rock water, you're collecting that essence, right? And that's something that will treat that. That's something that will treat that. I'll give another example for myself. Like, remember how I said, like 10 years ago, I started out doing t-shirts, 10, 11 years ago. But then I failed, right? So I got discouraged after that. That was a setback in a sense. So, well, what do you know? Like this summer, that's when I actually did the flower essence course. what do you know? There's actually a remedy for disappointment after setbacks.
Yes. I
So,
can't believe
it's
that.
called gentian. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, wow. So, and I also seen a whole bunch of other ones that relate to me. There's one called agrimony. Like, as you see, most people see this cheerful face or whatever it is, but y'all don't know what I go through. Y'all don't know the pain I go through or whatever it is, the personal drama that I got going on in my
Mm-hmm.
life. But I do my best to, more or less always walk with a smile. And when somebody sees like I'm pissed, then it's like usually I'm at that point, But yeah, there's something for that too. It's called agrimony. So there's 39, and there's many different ones that you can combine in a little mixture. And you basically would call it a remedy. And you basically would take a few drops of it every day. You put it in your water or whatever you're drinking. But the thing about flower essences is like they have vibrational energy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all you need is like 4 drops in whatever liquid you're drinking. And as long as there's 1 drop remaining in that cup or in that glass, and you add water back into it, you don't have to add any more, because that 1 drop will then give off its energy to the rest of the water in that glass, and you can continue treating yourself
Oof.
with just those 4 drops that you took for the day, right?
Wow.
So,
Jahmal
and
WhoSane.
like it's something I stand by because I took it myself, right? Like I took it myself, and honestly, like I don't think I would be able to be like this open, because I'm a shy guy or
Same
whatever it
here.
is.
Same here.
I'm shy,
Even though I'm in this
Um
job, same here.
that's it. But
You know?
we gotta come out our comfort zones and whatever
Yes.
it is, and just do the job and do the work, right? So I'm here to do the work. Like I'm not running away from it anymore, in a sense. Like as a water sign, or as in Chinese medicine, like we work with like 5 elements. So we work with water, fire, earth, metal, and wood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's different elements. So as a water being, or somebody who carries themselves more as water, right? Like able to hold space and all of that. Um the emotion of water is fear, right?
Yes.
It's fear. So like throughout my
I heard
whole
about that too.
childhood, that's what I gave into, in a sense. So I was also afraid of dying, and things like that. I was afraid of
Mm-hmm.
sinning and whatever
Same
it
here.
is, right? But now I'm tapping into the power of the water, which is actually willpower. So we
Oof.
have like strong will, you know what I mean? And I know that I'm very determined, but I can get into the cancer traits and become lazy or whatever it is, and I let the fear take over. But I kind of like make it a point to tap more into the willpower, and yeah, just really just try and manifest only divine excellence. Like that's it.
Jahmal WhoSane, I would love to have part 2 of this interview on the radio. We get roughly 100 to 300 people who listen sometimes a day, and that is so needed for people who are in St. Vincent and the Americas and Canada right now. Thank
Yes.
you so much for being here. This interview will and has already changed my life. And I am your host, Christcella Nicholas, and we will see Jahmal WhoSane very soon, because I need more of this knowledge to soak up and make sure I can also pass it on to the people who I know. So thank you once again, Jahmal
Definitely.
WhoSane, for being here with us.
Not a problem. It's been a pleasure, and I'll definitely like to come back for part 2.
Please.
Maybe around when my album will be ready or so,
Yes,
or before that. Who knows, man? Because
that's amazing.
I'm always working on things. But yeah, I
We'll
do
try to get you
feel
before the album so we can help you with that promotion too. You
that's
know?
it. That's it. I mean,
Yeah,
Red Pill, Blue Pill was just kind of a preview,
I
so you kind
see
of get an
that.
idea. if you look back at the tracks I released like last year, you know,
Mhm.
I Don't Trip, you know, I'm So 514, you know,
Four.
you can check out all of those.
Yes.
Check those out. But like, you know, I'm about to get serious in a sense as the King of Kings. Like I'm about to get serious. So Red Pill, Blue Pill is just a taste. I got some other things coming. Yeah, basically I might, I don't know if I'll say this now, but I might be calling the project itself like Dead Ends, like all dead
Ooh.
things come to an end. Like, you know, like I'm not playing around.
Oh,
So
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm gonna keep close with you because we're gonna make this date right away because I'm gonna make sure I do not let go of your talent. Jahmal WhoSane on 514 Online Mix, and I am your host, Christcella Nicholas. Thank you for watching. And shout out to our sponsors, Girl Being Clothing, and also On the Pot Dispensary, which also is connected to Bongya. Check out their Bongya accessories, bongs, papers, and so much more at On the Pot Dispensary. Once again, Jahmal, thank you so much for being here. Much love,
thank you.
King, and we'll talk to you
Blessed
shortly.
love, Queen.
Peace.
Peace.
Shout to Flint. Everywhere we go, we